Hello everyone and welcome to AskPolymathGeddy, your polymathic source for all information, knowledge, and wisdom. Today we have a question from Danielle in Long Beach, California. Looks like another relationship question, another boy-girl question. Here we go. I've recently started going out with a man that's 15 years older than me. I'm 23 and he's 38. There's definitely chemistry and we almost love each other. He is a complete gentleman, he absolutely adores me, but we can't avoid the big elephant in the room. My question to you is, do you think this is something worth pursuing? So I guess your question is really, is age a problem, or is age going to be a determining factor in pursuing this relationship? I can't personally answer that for you, because only you and he can tell. But what I can do is give you three checklist items to consider. And based on these items and based on your reflection of these items and your conclusions thereof, you can determine for yourself if this will be an issue for you. Because frankly, in some relationships, age is a very big deal. In other relationships, age is not a big deal. In fact, it's almost not even an issue at all. So it really depends on how you handle it and what you come up with in relation to these 3 points. Okay, so let me get to these 3 points for you. Point number 1 is maturity. Now, you are the young one in this relationship, apparently. So you have to determine for yourself if you're mature enough for someone that much older than you. And I think he has to determine as well if you're mature enough for him. Because you might think, oh, I'm 23, but I'm mature for my age. My other friends aren't like me, I'm more mature than them. But he's 38. He's not thinking about what's common for your age. He's thinking about what's common for his age. And if you are still of a child mindset, and you are still doing things that are frivolous and ignorant or childish and seemingly on the path of not growing up or taking a long time to grow up, he doesn't have all day to wait for you, okay? He doesn't have the next 15 years for you to catch up to where he was 15 years ago, you see. So you have to determine whether or not you're mature enough to be in a relationship with someone that much older than you, because chances are he's been through more experiences, he's had more ups and downs in life, he's had to solve more problems than you, he's had to grow and expand upon his horizons more. He had to reflect on who he is and develop personally more than you. And this is not a guarantee, but this is a likelihood, okay? There are some people who mature very, very quickly, and there are other people who are very, very slow. There are some people who are teenagers that are more mature than some people in their 60s. And that's a fact. It's just a question of your mindset and how well you are able to analyze yourself, find your faults, find your areas of improvement, and to move forward. So as long as you're able to move forward and grow and expand, and you're constantly in a state of progress, and you're constantly monitoring your progress so that you can mature at a fair rate, and as long as he has done the same thing, and as long as the place that you're at is compatible with the place that he's at, mature-wise, I don't see how that's going to be an issue. So you have to determine for yourself, though, if you're mature enough, and he has to determine as well for himself if you're mature enough for him. The second point is your life path. This is a very big one because it determines whether or not you're compatible as human beings, let alone maturity-wise. So if he's on the path of thinking a certain way and doing certain things and becoming a certain type of person, and you are on a path of doing something else and your priorities are different and your belief system's different, then even if you are both fairly mature and even if you're both compatible with your maturity, you're able to talk and understand things in an adult way, the fact is, if you are on a path that is not the same as him, your little bit of divergence will turn into a huge, massive space between. So what I'm saying is, you take two paths that are slightly angled outward, and over time they keep moving away and away and away from each other. So down the road, you're going to be even more different than you are right now. So you have to determine for yourself, and he has to determine for himself, if you two are compatible in terms of your life path and in terms of your values, in terms of your personal goals and ambitions and dreams and all this other stuff. So that's a very big deal, and whether or not you're mature, this could be the make or break issue for you, and it is for a lot of people, okay? So just keep that in mind and determine for yourself and have him determine for himself and talk about this as well, and go through some of the things that you think you might be different from him and he might be different from you, and determine whether or not there's any kind of reconciliation that you can come up with between you two. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes you have political differences, religious differences, personal life goal differences, and so forth. The way you see yourself, the way you handle the external world. You might be a very private person. He might be a very public, and vice versa. And he might not agree with your tactics and feel betrayed by them, and you might feel betrayed by them as well. So it's a lot of talking you need to do, and a lot of communication, a lot of self-analysis as well, because you can't really have a productive conversation about yourself with someone else unless you have had that many times over with yourself, so that you understand fully who you are and what you're about, and not just go by your instinct or your emotion or anything like that. You have to know intellectually what you believe in and where you are in the timeline of your personal growth. Okay? The third point, and last but not least, health concerns. Yes, I mean, if you're 23 and you're really great health, amazing health, you take care of yourself, you look really great for your age, you exercise, and you don't do anything that's detrimental to your health, and he's on the path of smoking for 20 years, and he's drinking all the time, and he doesn't take care of his skin, he doesn't exercise, he doesn't eat right, your 15 years difference physically is more like a 30-year difference. And in maybe a couple more decades, it's going to be a 40-year difference. He may be reaching the end of his life when he's in his 60s, and you're only 45 and have another 40 years to go because you've taken care of yourself and he hasn't. So that's another concern you have to consider. If he's taking care of himself, he's in good health, then it shouldn't be an issue. If you're doing the same, then it shouldn't be an issue, and you can't really predict the future anyway, but at least you can prepare yourself the best way you can so that you can have the best possible outcome, or the best chances, should I say, to live together for a longer period of time. So those are the three. I'll recap one more time for you. Maturity, make sure you're both in the same maturity level, or at least you're at a compatible difference from each other. Talk that through, decide upon what your maturity level is and what you're thinking about and the kinds of thoughts that are involved in your life with your priorities. Because as you mature, your priorities change and your worldview changes and your perception and your sense of what right and wrong is changes, and everything about who you are is going to be changing. I've experienced that at a young age personally, feeling much more mature than people my age, and I always felt at odds with them because they were so much into childish things and acting juvenile and kind of unruly and so forth. And I was thinking about personal growth and what is this going to mean to my future, and I'm going to be this legendary ideal of a character and so on. And other people are frolicking and playing and acting frivolous. And to me, I couldn't understand that. That's something a child does, a very young child, not an adolescent. So at that point in my life, I was already separating myself from people my own age. And that might be your case. So maybe because of that you are dating someone much older than you, because it takes someone that much older than you to be compatible with your maturity. On the other hand, maybe you are as mature as the other people are your age or even younger. Maybe he's as mature as people are his age or older, and that might be an issue for you. So determine between you two what that means to you. Like I said, there is no yes or no answer to this. And the next one, as we said before, life path, make sure you agree on the same principles, you have the same belief systems, you stand for the same causes, you believe in a lot of the same overall ideas and how to live your life, and what you support with your life, what you are against with your life, and make sure that that is going for you. Make sure you're not diametrically opposed, definitely, but make sure you're as close to agreeing with each other as possible. You don't have to agree on everything, but on the major things you have to be close, and on most things you have to be close, really. So life path, make sure you guys are congruent. The next one is, and the last one once again, health. Make sure he's not on the path of going to the grave quickly. Make sure he's taking care of himself. Make sure he's eating right, drinking proper amount of water every day. Make sure he's taking whatever supplements he might need for himself. Make sure he's avoiding junk food. Not completely, but almost completely is good. Same thing with you. You should both be taking care of yourselves. And if that's the case, I wouldn't really worry too much about so many years. Maybe if it's 25, 30 years, then you really have to consider the fact that he's probably going to go before you, and much before you, so you have to think of what you're going to do in your twilight years alone. So that's something to consider. But, I mean, you're still young, and he's still relatively young, and for me, I'm not that much younger than him, and I feel like I'm younger than you, so I wouldn't really consider the fact of your age being a major issue unless you, of course, make it an issue by your habits and your view of yourself. So that's my summation here, that's my conclusion. I'm not giving you a yes or no answer per se, but I am giving you the 3 important topics that you need to internalize and also communicate with him to find out whether or not this relationship has a potential. Otherwise, it's really just up for chance, and you don't want to find out accidentally whether or not something worked out. So you need to determine and work things out with him based on where you are with him and based on what you see for your future. And also keep in mind, he's grown more times than you, meaning he's had more years to reflect and to grow and expand. By the time you're 30, you might change from where you are now. You might, completely change paths on a certain belief system or what you want in your life. And he may be more like how he is now. So you have to consider that as well. That could be an issue where he's more the same and you're more different. So if you are going down the path of life with him, make sure that what you want is really what you're going to want later. Make sure what he wants also is what he's going to want later. Okay? Thanks for your question, and for everyone else, please submit your questions to AskPolymathGeddy@gmail.com. You can find me on social media, Facebook, Geddy Friedman. Instagram, I'm PolymathG. Also, check out the Friedman Press. I'll be posting my writings on there. As far as Twitter goes, I'm not really on there that much, but Geddy Friedman, you can find me anyway. Once in a while I'll post something, probably some fitness stuff, but not too much else. But we'll see. So that's pretty much it for now. Thanks everyone for watching. Please share this video, thumbs up, support, do something to keep me going here, and I'll be back. So, Ask Polymath Geddy.